Hello and welcome to the Change Gang podcast with me, your host, Laura Ordile. I'm here to help you hold on to your sanity and your soul as you move through big change. I'm here to guide you from frustration to flow in your life, bridging the practical and the woo, just for you. Let's go. Hey Change Gang, welcome to the week. Here we go into another fun episode, and I am going to talk about 4 ways to create a chain reaction to change. And so this might be a little bit longer than normal, but bear with me, there's some really good information along the way. We're going to talk about investigating the information that's there, kind of accessing some stuff, resetting, anchoring, and allowing. So tapping into that first one, investigate, right? Access your past stories and see if you notice anything there that might be blocking the changes ahead. Or do you notice any patterns in the past? Here are a few questions to ask yourself. What was change like when I was growing up? Think about that. Was it fun and exciting? Or was it maybe chaotic and full of anxiety? And how much change do you remember happening through your life, especially in the younger years? Was there a lot of change? Did you go to several different schools like I did? Or was there not a lot of change? And how did you feel about that? Do you remember any of your thoughts about what you might do differently when you grew up? Did you start to think about the fact that you would want to travel more, that you would want to see more change, you would want to live in different places? Or because of all the change, maybe you were a military child and you grew up in a lot of different places. Maybe you would have wanted to anchor in and not change all the different schools. Would you have thought that you would just want to stay in one place? All right. So those are some great questions to start with, to see kind of what the foundation for yourself around change is. Now, turn and let's access and move into your future stories. What do you say right now about your future to yourself, or even your life to others? What do you say? Do you talk about how broke you are, how you'll never get ahead, maybe what a crappy boss you have? Do you engage in all of the gossip? And when I say gossip, I'm using it in not necessarily the catching up of what's going on in your local area or in your family or in your life. I'm talking about the gossip that comes when you're talking about the difficulties in other people's life, or what you don't like about the person in the third cubicle to the left, or how awful it is about what happened to, and kind of the harsher side of the news of the time and place. How often do you do that? Do you do it every day? Or do you really find yourself not doing it? You just walk away, or you shift the conversation and you move it into something else. Which one? And what are you reading or watching on TV? What are you watching? Are you watching all the stuff around serial killers? Or are you balancing out some of it with maybe some good things? Is there a balance? Or are you leaning towards all of that difficult stuff? Sometimes I have to step away from the shows that I'm watching because there is too much drama going on. There is too much of the difficult stuff happening. And I'm not balancing it out with some of the other things where the good things are happening. A lot of shows that you might watch, the drama shows, the police shows, the medical shows, they have the difficulty, but they have the balance of good things happening as well. But if you get into some really dark shows that don't have that balance, you're going to find yourself in not such a good place. And maybe the change that you want to see happening in your life isn't happening because of where some of that is on a daily basis, where you are emotionally. Or maybe change is going in the wrong direction for you. That's a great reset button to hit right there. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. But your thoughts and your emotions are creating your tomorrow. And everything I just mentioned, all of those things, the gossip, the conversation that you are speaking about, the things that are coming out of your mouth, the things that you're reading and watching and taking in, all of that is creating your life right now. You know, I can't say serial killer for some reason, serial killer documentary isn't going to shift it all out of the way. If you're watching other things, if you're reading good books, if you're having some of the fun and that make, the books that make you smile, the adventure, the romance, the comedies, something like that. Or, even on the nonfiction side, some of the things that are feeding into your soul and feeding your mind that are bettering your life. But if all you're watching is the serial killer stuff, the horror stuff, the news, you might need to shift it a bit. Just shift it a little bit and see what happens. And if you honestly cannot talk about the abundance of money that you have, maybe you're in such a difficult situation that to say it would feel just not good. It would feel like a lie. It would feel horrible. It would feel like, ugh, that's not true. That's just never going to happen. You can at least not talk constantly about how difficult it is, how broke you are, how things are just not happening for you. You can lean into the what ifs in a good way. Create the story, and if you listen to last week's podcast, you know about storytelling, right? And if you haven't, then go have a listen. Create the story of how much you're looking forward to that next wonderful thing in your life. Maybe it's a vacation, a lifelong desire to go to a certain place. And maybe in your brain you're like, I have $10 in my account. There's no way I'm going to Italy next week. However, you can start talking about how excited you are about that dream vacation. What you're excited to see, where you're excited to go, what you're excited to do on that vacation. It might not be possible right now, but as you speak about these things, you create that possibility and put the universe in motion. You put the universe in motion because you might say to someone's going to say, oh, when are you going on that vacation? I don't exactly have the dates planned out right now. That's all you have to say. You don't say, oh, never, or gosh, it's a dream thing. It'll probably never happen. You say, you know what, I don't have the exact dates right now, but I'm looking forward to being able to plan that out. When you're talking about it, even if people challenge it a little bit, you're able to come back in a way that still feels honest and comfortable and good and is still truthful, right? You don't have the dates planned out. And that's okay. But being in that energy of talking about those things feels so wonderful and shifts who you are today and therefore shifts tomorrow. Now you have some ideas of what the foundations are around what you need to maybe be looking at, right? You have some ideas about the past, where you've been, what's been happening. Talked about that, about thinking about what you remember around the change process, all that. And we've just talked about creating some of the future ones, some of the future stories that are there. These are the foundations of where you want to be. So looking at those things, what needs changing? What needs to be reset? Are there some things from your past that really connect with you still that you'd really like to clear out and reset? Or do you need some guidance around the future? Maybe there are some things that you're just not sure about. You need some information about what's next there. Your foundations around your relationships. Maybe growing up, you heard your parents or your people around you arguing a lot, or maybe you heard about how crappy it was to have a wife or a husband or something like that. Maybe people just left, and that leaves you with a foundation of something uncomfortable. Maybe you need a reset around anxiety, especially around change. Maybe when you thought about it and you thought about that history, there was a lot of change and it gave you anxiety having to go to a new school and find new friends or move into a new home and all your stuff was jostled around and it was just difficult for you. Or maybe you felt stuck and didn't have that adventure in your young life, and you would have really liked to have it more, but you feel stuck now in not being able to have it. That's a great place to have that reset that I talked about. And this is where NLP, hypnosis, and quantum jumping all come in great ways. NLP and hypnosis are really great at those reset buttons. They go in and they clear the way. They reset the past and allow the present to come into play and just take the subconscious into a place that it's able to create a new path, choose new ways of moving forward. And the quantum jumping will help you find answers and direction on your future and your present. It plants a seed of information into your being on how to move ahead to get where you want to be. It allows that to happen. And from there, so we've done the investigating, talk about the resetting, now you go into that anchoring. And if you've heard some of, again, my past podcasts, you've heard me talk about color energy and how wonderful that is. I think that was like number 14 was color energy. Have a listen to that because it really talks about anchoring in things with color. I love color for this, but you can choose an object of just about any kind. But a physical object is great. Actually, I know some people too that they use passwords. They use passwords to allow them to anchor something in because they're physically typing it in pretty often, right? So you can use a password to anchor in maybe something around money. You could do that. You could type it in, how much money it is that you want to receive in the next little while. Or you could do it around relationships. You might use the password to say, loving relationship forever would be your password. That's a great thing. Or you could use the color red. Red is around relationships. So you can bring in anything red that you would see for that day, for that week. Maybe that would be flowers. Maybe it would be a red shirt or a red handkerchief, something like that. It should be a physical reminder of what you want to change, what you want to happen, what you want to bring about. It could be a keychain, right? You could get if you want money, you could get a little dollar sign keychain. Or actually, I love using actual money. Money is a great anchor because you can put it in your wallet. And what I encourage you to do with that is go a step up from what you would normally carry in your wallet. Maybe you would normally carry 20s. Can you go up to putting a 50 in there? I'm not talking about going and spending it, just having it. Or 100. Or if you often have 100 in there, could you put 500 in your wallet to have with you as that physical anchor? Push yourself a little bit. Push yourself up to something that's really going to make you feel like, wow, that's pretty cool. Maybe you want a new career. You can anchor that in possibly with a picture of a logo for the company, or buy a shirt. That's even better. Buy a shirt or a hat that has the logo of the company that you want to work for. If you're in your own business, maybe it would be printing out a fully booked calendar. And pictures are great things, but something that you can touch and feel is even better. Even better. So what could an anchor be for you that will make you feel good about the change that you want to have in your life? Choose something that every time you look at it, and you can touch it, but if you can only just look at it, that's fine. It reminds you of what it is you're wanting to bring into your life. That's why I think color is great, because you can choose white if you're looking for clarity in your life. White is a great thing for clarity. If you are hoping for growth and communication, you can bring in green, all kinds of things. And if you don't have my guide to color energy, I will put a link in the show notes for that because I love that particular one too. So this is a great place also to add subliminals, to add quotes, to add mantras in. Subliminal messages are ones that are put in to reinforce something that you're working on. It could be around money, it could be around sales, it could be around weight, it could be around career, relationships. There are all kinds of them out there. I actually happen to create subliminals, and I have some of them out there now that are great for anchoring in those things. And I actually use it's a music that's at a certain megahertz to actually drive in to the subconscious, the things at a level that really accesses the particular place that you want to do it in. So if it's around healing in a certain area, maybe it's around healing in relationships, there's a certain level, a certain tone, I should say, that goes in to just the right place and allows that to really penetrate into your being and bring it about even quicker. So subliminals are a great addition to the anchors, the physical anchors that are there, because it brings in other ways of anchoring that in. And lastly is allowing. Start practicing receiving. The next time someone offers to buy you that cup of coffee or even to help you with something, say yes, thank you, yes. Maybe someone offers to carry something for you. Oftentimes you would just say, yeah, no thanks, I've got it, right? That would be what you would do. Well, I'm going to encourage you now and say, just for a while, maybe for a week, maybe for a day, even if you don't necessarily need the help, take it anyway. Say yes, thank you. And notice how you feel about it. Is receiving and allowing one of those spots that you might need to hit the reset button? Do you need to shift something inside yourself there? A lot of people really struggle in this place, and they do need to change their brain on this one. And they don't even realize it until they go to practice this, until they go to start trying to say yes to things instead of just, oh no, I've got it. No, thank you. No, and also not to, like if someone offers to get you a coffee or buy you lunch, don't say, oh yeah, and I've got it next time. Just say yes, thank you. Try it and see how it feels inside you. Do you really need to shift something there? Maybe you're great at it. That's great. Wonderful. Good, good, good. And lastly, hold loosely. We strangle the life out of most of the change that we really want to see in our lives simply because we're holding on too tightly to a certain outcome. Find a way to be okay no matter the outcome. Find the story that fits you being okay regardless. Regardless. And from there, you'll find that your grip loosens and your energy, the energy of receiving, the energy of flow comes and moves through, and that chain reaction to change starts and flows easily right there. You have all the points of ignition now in place as you move into that investigating, that accessing, right? You spark the energy there, which leads to resetting. And again, another new spark in the energy happens as you go in and you reset. And it leads you to that anchoring. And the energy is really flowing at this point. And again, is ignited and moving into that allowing, where that final pop of energy completes it. And boom, change happens. How incredible is that? How amazing is that? There you go. I hope that you followed along. I stumbled through a little bit in some of it. I have a little bit of a cold right now, so I hope that I didn't cough too much or that I didn't stumble too much and that you were clear and able to hear all of that, because it's pretty good information and it takes you step by step through the things to do to really shift and bring the change into your life. I hope that you have an amazing week ahead and that you meet me right here, same place, same time, next week. Ciao. I hope today's episode was interesting to you in some way and fun. If so, hey, find someone to share it with. Maybe they need to hear it too, or maybe they'll just enjoy it. If you'd like, go ahead and grab my tips on supercharging your success. It includes a free short meditation to do just that. You can find that at bit.ly/, bit.ly/supercharge your success. Until next time, happy day.